Hey everyone, I'm Todd Wayne along with Ronnie Heelan. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Paranormal Podcast, home for all things paranormal supernatural. At least that's what we're trying to accomplish here, folks. So Ronnie's out tonight. She's not feeling good, so it's just going to be me and our guest, who happens to be Kelly Shaffer. Now, Kelly, she's been doing this for quite some time. She has her own paranormal group. It's called K2 Paranormal Research. She's also an author, and she has a book coming up called The Paranormal Pages. She has been experiencing things for quite some time, and she's a very interesting person to talk to, and I can't wait for you to hear her. So grab yourself a drink and a snack, turn the lights off on the way back, find yourself a nice comfy spot, and enjoy this episode of Paranormally. Stay with us, folks. So, Kelly, thank you so much for being with us. Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. Where do we start? I was born on a cold January 28th morning, long time ago, in Iowa. I'm pretty sure you don't want me to go back that far. How far do you want me to go back? I mean, it's...
Go back to whenever you first got into the paranormal.
Oh, well, I've had experiences all of my life, and due to a religious background, I was told that they're all from Satan and that no one ever talked about them. So I never had anybody that would be able to guide me in what was going on. Flash forward to 2017, it wasn't 2017. I think I got started in 2010 with my daughter. Her name's Kayla, where the two Ks come in, the K2. And it actually worked out because it was a piece of equipment too. So we started investigating. She wanted to do it for her 18th birthday. And we went out and investigated the Petalumas. And it's the one of the biggest events that's over there, and I can never remember the name of it. The Phoenix Theater.
Okay.
We investigated the Phoenix Theater with Amy from Ghost Hunters, and that just lit us up. We really wanted to do some more.
Amy Bruni?
Yeah, Amy Bruni.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a great investigation. I love her. She is a wonderful individual, very much into helping people understand the paranormal, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. So moving forward, my daughter no longer wanted to go out with me. She got touched and didn't think that was appropriate.
Oh, wow.
So she didn't want to go out and get touched by ghosts anymore. So I kept going, and I was going around and around and around trying to find a group to be with. And, the drama that there is in the paranormal field.
Oh, yes.
I finally decided that it was just going to be best if I was on my own and started my own team. So that's where K2 Paranormal started.
Nice.
And it's now starting to really take off. And since I moved to Tennessee. And it's just been a lot of fun. I get to do what I love, and I get to talk about what I love. I get to see people that love what I love, and it's just fun. I enjoy it.
Yes.
I enjoy teaching people. I enjoy helping private homes figure out what's going on in their house. I love the history research, which is my favorite part of it. I will get lost in a rabbit hole sooner than anybody else.
Yes.
And I decided this year that I was going to primarily focus on historic hauntings. In other words, I'm not chasing demons. I'm not chasing orbs. I'm not chasing all this other crap. I am looking at connecting an event that happened at the property or a person that lived in the property with what's going on in the house and the property.
Right. And that's resident. That's all residential, right?
Yes. Well, no, I do businesses too. One of my favorite one was a business in Petaluma. I was in California for 20 years, and thank God I'm out. I'm not a big fan of California, and I'll stand by that with anybody. But this one business reached out to me because their employees did not want to go in the basement. And I had the history of that building from cornerstone to present day. And it was a great experience. It was one that I discovered something that I'd never seen before, which was a floating um, area of EMF activity. And it was 3 feet off the ground, and it was about 6 feet long and about 3 feet wide, and it just hung in the space. You could go underneath of it, and there's no activity. You could go up, and there was the activity. You could go above it, and there was no activity. And it was consistently there for about 3 or 4 visits to the property. And then one day I went to go get my cameras that I'd left overnight, and it wasn't there.
Wait, the camera wasn't there?
No, the area where the EMF activity was up was not there anymore.
Interesting.
It was gone. Nowhere else in the building. There was no activity in the building at all after that thing left.
What do you think happened?
I think it might have been a portal, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've only encountered EMF activity in spaces where there's absolutely no reason for it to be there in 3 different locations that's out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And something that's hanging off of the ground. It's not on the ground. It's not. It's. I'm pretty sure that might have been a portal.
It's very possible. Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now, how long have you been doing residential and business clients?
That would have been from 2010 on through. I've never stopped doing businesses and private residence. It's just finding hold on, I got trains. This is the jerk conductor that blows his train from the beginning of my town to the end of my town at full blower. Oh, okay. It's gone now.
It's all right.
I never stopped working on residential and business clients, but the problem is that they don't want to open up to people until there's been something that's happened that has affected them to the point of where they're overwhelmed.
Right.
And finding business clients that want to open up, that's really hard. Finding private clients that want to open up, that's really hard. So everywhere I go, if I'm paying a bill, if I'm talking to somebody, if I'm in the grocery store with, talking to whoever, I hand them my business card. And as I'm handing them my business card, I say, you never know who might need me.
Right.
And they look at it and they go, oh my God. That's the best part.
Well,
you
go ahead.
Never know.
I totally get it because I did residential and business for a long, long time. And I can definitely relate because first off, there's a trust issue. Can they trust you? You know what I mean? So
exactly.
They just don't want to reach out to people because there's a lot of fraud out there. And
there is.
And the other thing is it's such a psychological thing because I mean, you have to watch what you say because you can really damage somebody psychologically. So, yeah, right. I totally understand it.
Yeah, it's tough. And and people don't want to let you into their business after hours because they don't want to have theft.
Exactly.
And people don't want to let you into their home because they don't want to have theft. And it's getting them to. I mean, when I go into an investigation, I have my set of forms that have the disclaimers, the expectations, what we do, how we do it, and it's all a professional setting. And still, it's trying to get them to come to the table and say, hey, look, we're not here. We just want to look at your ghosts. That's all we want to do.
Right. You want to help them find
Yeah.
out what's going on.
Right. That's all we want to do. I don't care if you've got an egg from Fabergé sitting over there on the counter. It's really nice, but I don't care.
But no, that's it automatically. It's so hard to get people because of how big the paranormal field has gotten now. And people are just, I don't know, they're really, like you said, theft and things like, they just don't trust people. And I lucked out because I did all my stuff in Florida. I lived in Florida for the longest time. And, word of mouth kept going and going and going. So me and my team, we got a lot of places and got a lot of validation for them. So I see that you sent me your bio, and it's very interesting. And it says here that you was doing some reconstruction following the destruction of your home.
Yeah.
And you started to experience things.
Well, I started experiencing things that pretty much was the turning point for me. After the fire, I had, up to that point, I had no support. I mean, I'd been doing the ghost hunting stuff, and I've had instances of where I've had mediumship abilities, but I never had anybody say, "Oh, you're a medium." I prefer to call myself a Claire, because my ability is all over the place, and my headset's just getting ready to die. Hold on a second. Let me change it out.
Okay.
Are you there?
I am.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, you're still on the headset. Hold on, let me turn it down. Oh. You there?
I am.
There you are. Okay. So, can you hear me okay with the different setup then?
I can, yes.
Okay, perfect. So, I'd had mediumship abilities, and I prefer to call myself a Claire, because I'm not a medium. I don't go between people. I experience things. I know things that are happening, and all across the board. I've got all 4 Claires at varying abilities. So I prefer to call myself a Claire. And during the time before the fire, I never really acknowledged any of it, except for the things that I'd had since I was a child. And after the fire, that's when everything all lit up. That's when I started seeing the images. I started seeing apparitions. And one of them was an apparition that would stand on the street below my bedroom window every morning and point off in the distance where it ended up. That was the distance. That was the direction the fire came from. And keeping that in my head after we all got settled down and started to rebuild our lives, we got all the necessary things that you needed to have life. And then I just looked at my ex-husband at the time, and I said, "So what do you want to do for fun?" And he says, "Well, I'm going to go buy a new bike and go bicycle riding." And I'm like, "Great, go do it. Buy everything you need. Go get whatever you need to make yourself happy." I said, "I'm going to be a ghost hunter. I am going to be a K2 in my back pocket every single day. I am hunting ghosts."
There you go.
And that's when I made that decision.
So let me ask you this question. Now, you had experiences before this, but what do you think caused your abilities to really kick into drive over this fire?
It was an awakening. And I'll be pretty blunt about it, because I have no shame about it. And anybody that wants to talk about their own experience, I have an ear for you. And I may get a little emotional about it because it was pretty emotional. But I had taken a trip to Oregon and had multiple experiences during the trip. I even had a ghost dog traveling with me at one point. And I was on the way home, and I did not want to go home. I could not, I didn't want to go home, did not want to go home. And I stayed in a hotel that I stayed at when I was a kid with my parents. And I'm laying there that night, and it just overwhelmed me that I didn't want to go home. And the little voice in the back of your head, that little evil thing, started saying, all you have to do is walk out into the ocean. It'll be over real soon. Just walk out there. Everything will be fine. It'll be nice. It'll be good. And I was so close to just walking out in the middle of the ocean and just disappearing. And as I'm getting ready to get out of bed to go out the back door to walk across the sand to the ocean, I had the apparition of it's now been revealed to me that it's a mother from another life, come to me and say, look at all the things that you've seen. Look at all the things that you've done. Look at all the people that love you. And look at where you can go. And it was knowing that she was with me that made me brave enough to start acknowledging everything that was happening to me, and to start talking about it, and to start believing that it was all real. I mean, there's stuff that I've seen that there is no way anybody could tell me that that was not real. It was, and I just, all of this can drive somebody crazy when all they have for themselves is to hold it back and to not tell anybody about it.
So you was at a really vulnerable time in your life.
I was in an extremely vulnerable time, yeah. And it gave me the courage to move forward and to accept who I was and who I am today. And that's continued for the last, let's see, I made that trip in 2019. So I'm going on almost 5 years now.
So there was a reason for that. I mean,
oh, yeah.
there's always a reason. And
there's always a reason.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you had that very vulnerable period in your time. It was like the lowest point in your life. And,
I was bad.
And it could have been, you said it was like a mother from a previous time, like a spirit guide, possibly, reaching out to you saying, hey, there's more to your story. You're not done yet.
You're not done yet. Right. You're not done yet. And that was eye-opening. My life changed that night. The old me after that night no longer exists. It's all me. What you see is what you get. There is no shadow. There's everything. I'm all about being authentic and being true to who I am and what I do.
Right. And what's really good about this whole thing is it's definitely opened you up to this bigger thing. Like, there's way more out there than you've ever realized.
Yeah. There's been some things that have happened in my life recently that I'm beginning to, I'm very careful about what I do, because apparently I can do more than I thought I could.
Okay.
So I'm very careful. Manifestation is a really cool thing.
Sure. That goes into the line of thought forms.
All right.
You can
Yeah.
think it into existence.
Yeah. What you think, you can make it come into existence.
Very true. Yes.
100%.
And I am very much, I am extremely fascinated by thought forms. It's actually made me think differently about paranormal investigation, because now you really need to rely on what the facts and story of the history really is, because as soon as someone starts to talk about, old man Harris that never really lived there, now they're constructing their own thought form entity.
Exactly. Yeah. And their experience, that's another thing that I try to train everybody in my team to do, is do not go into a location expecting the paranormal, because you will find it. Do not go into a location expecting to find the ghost of the grandfather that, whatever. Don't expect it, because it's going to reveal itself to you in its correct form without your expectations. And I tell people, if you listen to an audio and you are expecting to find the paranormal, you will find the paranormal.
Right. And spirits will also, they will let themselves known to those that they want to let know.
Yep, exactly.
So it's like when people go into, I don't know, if they go to like Pennhurst or something, they're expecting one thing, but they might not even get anything, because that spirit could be just tired of its story being told, or maybe it's reaching out because it wants you to tell the story. There's many different factors.
There's the girl that was on the street below me before the fire. I have a feeling, I think I know who she is. She is the granddaughter of a cult leader that was in the area. And she had been, well, their story is that she committed suicide. But when I start looking at the newspaper articles that were written about the event, there are way too many holes in the story. And I was going to make her story, or the story of her being on the street, one of the stories in the book. But as I was trying to write it down, nothing would come out. I'm like, nothing sticks to paper. This is ridiculous. How am I not making this work? And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, she wanted her story told in a separate book. And I'm pretty sure that she was murdered.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm lost. A book. Are you writing a book?
I did write it. I have written the book. It's currently in editing.
Ah, okay.
It's called The Paranormal Pages. And it is 24 stories of my encounters in the paranormal.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, I put it to paper and it's out there now.
Okay, awesome. So now I'm not so confused now that I know to write a book.
I may have I have to update my bio. That's the problem. Tonight was the night that my social media person said, you need to update your bio. And I'm like, okay, I'll update the bio tomorrow, because I was taking today off.
And you know what? It is in there, actually. I just went through and it is in there.
Well, we got together so quickly,
Yeah. So for our listeners out there, you have a book that is in the process right now.
Yep.
And it's called The Paranormal Pages.
The Paranormal Pages.
All right. Awesome.
And yeah, we expect it to be out either by the end of this year or by the end of the first quarter next year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I will definitely I'm going to get back with you. Excited. Whenever that comes out, I need to know, because I'll get a book from you.
Definitely. Okay. I will make myself a note right now.
Yeah. Cause I definitely, there's a lot of people that I talk to, and I end up getting little things from them. It's like
Yeah.
mementos, and I put them on a shelf back here that I have. So, and
Yeah.
now you wrote the book, and
Yeah, it was supposed to be 25 stories. And her story, and her name is Mary. Mary's story was supposed to be the last one because it was the one that was the most poignant, in my opinion. But she decided to let me know that she wanted it in her own book. She wanted her own book. So I'm trying right now to put that book together. There's not a whole lot of information on what her life was like before she was delivered to the cult, but I'm going to try and see if I can piece some stuff together from my own experience, because I grew up in a religious cult. So I'm going to try and piece everything together and maybe have her story be as a separate book.
yes, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, and everybody's dead now, so nobody can sue me for libel.
So, you was speaking of cult,
Yeah.
and a religious cult, and
Yes.
I believe most religion is a cult, actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You and I could probably go for a couple hours on that. I'm not a real big fan of organized religion. Myself, I'm a pagan, and I am an earth-based pagan with beliefs along the lines of the Druids. And sorry, I can't do religion. Nope. I see, especially since I've been awakened, because I can see all the games being played.
That's right. That's correct.
I can feel all the games being replayed.
But you've known this. The Bible is like the biggest tale of witchcraft and wizardry and possession, and you know what I mean? It's a huge book that Moses throws the spear down, turns it into a snake, and so does the Pharaoh, and now we're dealing with wizardry.
Right.
The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, but that they tell you that there are no ghosts, but we have the Holy Ghost.
Where I go is to Ezekiel's wheel.
Oh, I love Ezekiel's wheel. Now we're getting into.
I go into that.
Yes.
I go into that part of it.
UFOs.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
We are not alone.
No.
Yeah. No, I had a UFO 10 feet above my car.
Oh, wow. Give us a little, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's one of the stories in the book.
Oh, okay.
And
well, you don't have to say it.
It swooped down out of the sky, and it buzzed over my car. And as I'm driving up the highway, I'm looking in the rearview mirror going, did I really see that? And all the cars behind me are swerving. So, yeah, I did really see that. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
And you mind if I ask where was that? California?
That was in Beaverton, Oregon.
Oregon. Okay.
Yeah, that one was in Beaverton, Oregon.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad had me looking at the stars from when I was a little kid. So he always talked about how when he worked for the Air Force, he would scramble jets after UFOs, and we would watch the skies, and we would see UFOs way far up there, but never anything like what I experienced that night. Oh boy, that was like, wow.
Right. Yeah. And see, I'm kind of like, I want to take some time, and I want to make a podcast series called Origins. And that's where we actually come from, because, the Bible really tells you, it contradicts what the religious sector calls things. You know what I mean? They train you.
First you have to go to the point of where organized religion is in place to control man.
Right.
It's to control your fellow man and make them do what you want and to keep them in line. It's basically slavery, quite frankly. But I don't, I live in the Bible Belt. I can't go around talking about that.
Well, I mean, but it's so true, because I mean, there's plenty of
Mhm.
parts of that book that have been removed. And
Mhm.
in the Bible, it says that no part of this book shall be removed or changed
Yeah.
around. But the story of Adam and Lilith has been removed from the
Mhm.
book. You can only find Lilith mentioned, I believe it's one time, but she was the original Eve. And
Mhm.
then the whole thing
Correct.
went to crap because she wouldn't do what he wanted. And
Right.
he told God, oh, well, she's not doing what I want. And he said, okay, well, we'll banish her and get you somebody else. So,
Right.
that's where women had to take that, those commandments, when you're married, to the
But
T.
then you also have to think that if you go from my standpoint, where I believe that the Bible was written by man, it was not written under the guidance of God. Um, there's also the books were also written hundreds of years after the event had occurred. It's not like, oh, tonight we sat down with Jesus and 12 of our other friends and had a meal. No, that whole story is written hundreds of years later.
But somebody still had to see it. That's where they're getting, like, the book of Judas, the book of, you know what I mean? These are the ones
Mhm.
that they witnessed Jesus's work.
Right.
But
We all have a story.
now I can go right into, well, if we can create thought forms, couldn't we create Jesus?
Right. Correct.
I mean, you get enough people to
I have a
believe it.
problem with I have a problem with the fact that Jesus is Jesus, but he's also God. And he's also, I'm like,
And he's also the, yeah.
how can God send his only begotten son to earth if he is, that's, sorry, that does not equate.
Well, that would put Jesus as God and the Holy Ghost.
Right. But they're saying, but God sent his son. Okay. So if he sent his son, I don't get
It's very
it.
confusing.
Was heaven empty when God was on earth, or what the heck?
Well, Moses went up top of the mountain and he was talking to a burning bush. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we can't
I,
see.
I want to see the burning bush.
I kind of think that maybe he was, and this is just me, I think maybe that burning bush, the brightening light, might have been some kind of UFO, or maybe it was extraterrestrial. I think it was something way bigger.
Well, if it, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't, I, if Moses did go up there and get some commandments, I think that maybe, yes, it may have been passed down by some spirit that manifested itself in brilliant light. Um, and it just, to people that had never experienced a spirit, they would have said a burning bush. It may have looked like a burning bush. I don't know. Maybe ectoplasm looks like burning
And
bushes
you know what?
sometimes. I don't know.
It might not have been Moses that said it. It might have been Abraham.
Yeah. No, it was Moses.
Because I'm a little rusty
wait,
on my thing,
wait.
because I'm
Yeah.
myself, I'm
No.
pagan as well. So
Yeah.
so when all the Christian based people steal Christmas and that, then that kind of makes me mad because we created it.
Right. Yeah. Everything that's in religion today was created by the pagans.
Exactly.
Everything.
It's just like, the Egyptians, why are they trying to wipe it all out? Because there was something bigger going on.
Right.
And they don't want
Yeah.
you to know.
Right. And that's the thing that I find most confusing about the whole planet, quite frankly, and society as a whole, is there seems to be people that know things that we don't know.
Absolutely.
And I'm okay, who gave you the right to do that? Who gave you the right to hold that information back? That's I'm a big freedom rider. So I believe that everybody should have access to all the information so that we can make decisions for ourselves. And that's probably why that they hold it back, and they don't tell everybody, is they don't want people making decisions for themselves, which is why religion is here in the first place.
Well, that's true. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Book of Eli with
No, I have
with
not.
Denzel Washington, but I believe it was Denzel.
I'm writing that down.
But that was basically, it was an apocalyptic event, and he had a Bible, but there was a bad guy always, and he needed the Bible because the Bible is everything. That's your that's your instructions, your laws, everything. That's how you govern the people. And when he finally got a hold of Eli at the end of that movie and found out that his book of the Bible was Braille, he was completely just really upset because he couldn't read it. He had the Bible there, but he could not read it because he didn't know how to read Braille. So it was really good. I think it's a movie that you would definitely like.
So now you just blew the entire twist for me, huh?
Well, there's actually another part into that, but I kind of like just summarized it up, so you won't regret watching it. It was a good movie.
Well, my favorite movie is Dogma.
Yes, that's a good one too.
That one is awesome. I love Dogma.
But see, what you and I are getting at is there's a control aspect of it. Now, I don't care if somebody is religious and they believe in God and Jesus and all that. That's fine. That is great. I don't have a problem with that. I just have a problem with how much that the church is involved with people's normal lives. And that is in the politics. It's everywhere.
Yeah. And I've been trying to write a joke or write a story that starts off, so a pagan moved to the Bible Belt. And when I moved here, I'm like, oh man, this is just going to be hard because here I am, I'm a pagan, I'm moving to a Bible. I mean, there's literally a church on almost every corner. And I have found that here in Tennessee, the most accepting and wonderful people I have ever met in my life. I absolutely love the state. I love the people. I love everything about it. And the thing that I'm finding out the most about having Christians around me they are real Christians. They are people who actually believe in the Bible. They're people who actually believe in doing the good that is dictated in the Bible.
Sure.
And they live it. It's not something they hide behind. They live it. And more than that, they have a spirituality. And that's what I look for in people is, yes, you can be religious, but are you spiritual?
Right. Does
this affect you down to your deepest core? And can you live it down to your deepest core? And I can't live Christianity to my deepest core because I know that can't. Something about God telling Abraham to put his son on a stone and cut out and kill him. Nope, can't do it. Nope.
But in all fairness, he actually interpreted that wrong. Because at the very last second, he heard that lamb. And then it clicked to him, and he was like, "Oh my God, I made the worst mistake of my life."
Yeah.
So,
but they still will use that whole scene. They will still use that whole scene to elicit how obedient you need to be to God.
That's true. That's very true.
And God to them is whoever's spitting out what needs to happen.
Yes.
The control guy. But I really look for people that are more they're spiritual. And I don't care if you're a Christian or if you're a pagan or if you're a Muslim or Jewish or anything like that. I have no problem with it as long as you're spiritual and that you can accept other people that are spiritual too, as everybody has a right to believe the way they want to believe.
That's right. Yes.
The problem comes is when everybody decides that they want to be missionaries and change the belief to what they believe. Everybody has to believe what we believe. And that's where I start having a problem.
Right. And that's been going on since the beginning of time.
That has been going on since the beginning of time. Actually, it's been going on since Christianity first, because pagans were never missionaries.
No, they
The
weren't.
Muslims were never missionaries. The Jews were never missionaries.
But if you look, if you get out of that perspective of paganism as well, and put that aside, and just put the religious factors aside, you know, there was always somebody wanting to rule and power, and so
absolutely.
yeah. So that, I mean, even though we're talking about religion, it's always been about the rule of man.
Right.
Somebody needs to rule over us and tell us what to do and how to do it, and I don't think we'll never get out of that.
Yeah, that's not true. Nobody needs to rule over me. No.
Right.
It's just, yeah, I mean, you could take this entire conversation, you could turn it around to politics. You could turn it around to, it's just, man enslaves man in many different forms and places. It's in the workplace. You know, you've got the corporation that says you have to be here from 8 to 5, and here's what we're going to pay you. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't live on that? Okay, well, your wife's just going to have to go to work then. And your children will have to go to work so that you can live.
That's right. That's right.
You know, and I mean, the religion that I grew up in, and there's a lot of religions that do the same thing, is they all have an apocalyptic belief. At some point, the world's going to end, and we're going to have paradise, and we will go back to living as free men. Well, okay, that story's been around for literally thousands of years. And as much as anybody wants to try and believe that the world is going to come to an end, I don't see any evidence of that, except that there are going to be fall throughs of society. There are going to be societies that go down because they can't sustain themselves, or they eat themselves up from within.
Well, okay. Well, let's take it this way, because what you're saying makes a lot of sense. But how about we change it this way? If now when we die, that we're here on this earth, and this earth is a really nasty, bad place. There's murders and people dismembering people. I mean, and killing and all this horrid stuff. And then
just look at all the backbiting that goes on.
Right.
I mean, you don't even have to go to murders and killings. You just go to all the backbiting. Look at how many people don't support each other.
Right. Now, if taking that this world is just completely evil, and I hate using the word evil, but it is. It's a very bad place. Now, in the Bible, it says when you die, you go to a way better place. But I'm not seeing this being a paranormal investigator. I'm still seeing a lot of tormented people that hasn't crossed over or what.
Yeah. The paranormal kind of opened up that entire realm of, okay, so if you die and go someplace else, why do we have these here? Why do we have entities around us that are still here? But then you have to get into the conversation of where entities are spiritual beings that are moving between lifetimes.
Right.
And where, you know, they talk about, And I do believe in I do believe in reincarnation. So, but I don't necessarily want to be reincarnated on Earth again.
Exactly.
You're right. So what is it that we're dealing with? The religion that I grew up in will turn that around to it's from Satan. It's not. It's not a person. It's Satan imitating that person so that you will believe in something other than God.
But that's
I just don't see that.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
You go ahead. What's the question?
It's just it's redundant, though. I mean,
it is.
If they would look at it as a religious thing, in the Bible it says when you're dead, you're dead.
Right.
And then you'll be resurrected to help out with God's army.
Right.
So to speak.
Right.
But what is heaven then? If we're dead and we're dead.
Yeah.
If we're dead and that's it, what is heaven?
Oh, heaven was created so that everybody thinks that they can go there if they're good.
All you have to do is just say, forgive me.
Okay.
Well, that's what they're saying. If you pray to Jesus that you've committed your sin and you've redeemed it, you said, hey, I'm not doing this anymore, then you're going to go to heaven. So I just don't know. And like I said, all the EVPs that I have of what sounds like spirit screaming or moaning I mean, so is that hell? I don't think it would be. I mean, I know that we're on different planes. Okay. We're on different dimensions and things like that. So I
think probably that whole conversation about what is it that we're dealing with is one of the reasons why I'm continuing to do what I do, because there is that adage. I don't even know if adage is a proper word for it, but energy can never die. It just changes form.
Exactly.
And our bodies are run with electricity, and our bodies lose that energy when we die. They've measured it. It's 24 grams. Where does it go? What does it do? How is it stuck here? How, if someone dies, how is their spirit still stuck here? Why are they not moving forward? It's all those questions. I don't know if we're ever going to have the answer for it. I really don't.
I don't believe that we will ever find the answers that we're looking for.
No.
That's why we keep doing it, which is to try to validate for us. For each person is different why they're in the paranormal field. I got into it because I had a very extreme experience and I needed to know what caused it.
Yeah.
So, why did I experience this? Why do you experience what you're experiencing? I know it's different for everybody. I can definitely tell you that I did not get into the paranormal field to try to be famous, get likes and followers,
me either.
And fake evidence. And there's a lot of that.
Yep. There is a lot of that. I got into it and I started investigating primarily to find out what it was that I was experiencing throughout life. I mean, I lived in 3 haunted houses. You cannot tell me that I did not hear footsteps. It happened. And trying to figure out what that was that jingled the bed rung on my bed when I was about 9 or 10, somewhere around in there. What the heck was that? And it blows my mind up trying to think of all of this and try to figure it out. So I just decided that I was just going to go with the flow and experience what I'm going to experience. And maybe at some point I'll have some revelations, but I'm just enjoying. I'm just having fun doing what I'm doing.
Exactly. And that's, I mean, yes, we are serious paranormal investigators, but we have a lighter side too. I mean, we know that not all things that goes bump in the night is paranormal.
Correct.
Just like one person's mouse is another person's demonic being in the wall.
Right.
So
Right.
it's all about perspective and how you look at it. Like you went on your very first, I think it was your first ghost hunt with Amy Bruni, which would have been
first one.
That would have been fantastic because I'm a big, huge fan of hers. So
she is just as sweet in person as she is on television.
Yeah, and so you started out with someone that has the experience, and you continue from there. I see a lot of people in it for the wrong reasons, and I think it's really a hindering on this field.
Right. Well, the problem is that there's people who do the paranormal and they're not looking at it. There's a lot of people in the field that all they want to do is scare themselves. All they want to do is get that jolt of electricity when they run into an entity. That's all they're looking for. They're not looking for answers.
Then they need to go to the fun house.
Right. Yeah.
If you're looking for that kind of experience, yes, then go to a haunted house, at Busch Gardens or something.
Yeah, for me, right now the book I'm reading is Young on synchronicity and the paranormal. I'm searching for answers. I could probably continue to study the paranormal and not investigate.
But you have to have the investigation.
Right. But I do love investigating.
Yeah.
I do love running into the paranormal. I do love having experiences with the paranormal. So that's probably something that I would never do. But if it came to a position of where I couldn't go investigating any longer, I would still be satisfied reading about it and reading everybody's opinions on it.
Right.
And their theories.
And I understand that to a certain point, because too many opinions becomes just a blob of nothing. Right. So it's like you and we've done residential business locations. So there's not one person going to tell me that they can go to the Washoe Club or they can go to Pennhurst and they can do legitimate investigations, because you cannot unless you rent that whole building.
Yes.
Then you can't. So all these people that go to these paracons, to me, a paracon is nothing more than a social club.
Oh, to me, it's a meet and greet and a chance to network.
Right.
That's what it is for me.
It's a social club.
Right.
You're going there to show support. You're going there to meet others that are in the field that you are. But as far as claiming that you're a paranormal investigator from going to paracons is wrong.
Right.
Because you need real experience, like what you're doing with residential clients and business clients. Because once you figure out what's causing their experiences and you're helping them, now it's meaning more to you. It's helping you. It's helping you validate what you're doing in the paranormal in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
the whole field to me is so fascinating.
It is. It really is.
And the depths of it are just amazing. I would love to sit down and talk to people who have written the books and who have the theories. I love talking to the investigators because I get to hear their stories. But I really want to talk to the people who are experiencing the haunting. Their stories are important to me.
Right. And that's why, I did home.
That's why I keep doing what I do.
Yep. That's why I did home investigations. I want to know what these people are experiencing, when, how, I got tons of questions for them,
Oh yeah. When somebody says, "Oh, my house is haunted," I said, "Start keeping a log of when it happens."
Exactly.
When it happens, who's there, what the weather was like, where you saw it, how you saw it, everything. And most people don't. There was one business client that I did that she was telling me all about activity that was happening in her store. And I'm like, I look up and I see all these cameras. And I said, "Where's the footage?" And she had no footage.
But could it be on design though? Could it be that because spirits, they can manipulate
I thought
all
about that
too? You know what I mean?
I really did think about that, but that went hand in hand in the fact that I went in there twice and didn't find anything.
Well, maybe to her, she actually was feeling something, and that's the beauty of the experience. They experienced it, and the only thing we can do is hope to experience it as well with them.
Right, and yeah.
That's why, like you said, the paranormal field is fascinating. No matter what, it's fascinating, and not all people are bad in the paranormal. It's there is the select ones that are out there trying to ride coattails, but all in all, there are lots of very good investigators. I've interviewed a bunch of people, and I like to talk to the investigators because I want to live through what they experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is why I have this podcast, because my thing is this: I can't get out like I used to. Mm-hmm. So, to keep myself busy with the paranormal, this is what I do.
Yeah. I'm looking at maybe at some point I won't be able to go out again. I have back damage. It's slowly debilitating me. Eventually, I'll end up in a wheelchair like my dad.
Well, you're young yet, you're just a youngster, My back's gone, my legs are gone.
I'll bet you $20 I'm older than you are.
I don't want to put my age out there.
I'm 60.
60? You don't look like you're 60.
There you go. I'm 60.
Right. Well,
I'll show you my driver's license.
Well, then I'm 52, so.
Oh, see, you're still going.
So well.
God, I'd love to have my 50s back again.
Yeah, I'm definitely sore now.
Yeah, that is a big thing. It takes me a couple of days to recover from stuff now.
Right.
Yeah, we just went down to Carthage on Saturday, so I'm still recovering from that.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good investigation. It was probably one of the best investigations I've had in several months. A lot of activity that was intelligent responses.
Where was this at?
This was at the Walton Hotel in Carthage and the Smith County Courthouse in Carthage.
Oh, wow.
And it was amazing. And one of the things that we were doing is we were doing an Estes session, and my fellow investigator, my newest investigator, Gina, and I were sitting there, and we were going to be staying in room 5, and it was supposed to be the most haunted room in the hotel. And so we're sitting back there giggling. And the question to the person was, "What room are you currently in?" And we were laughing. Oh my God, if they say 5, we're moving. We were laughing, and the spirit, or the person doing the Estes, says 7, 5. We were like, oh my God,
wow.
No. So they were just messing around with us. And that was kind of fun to have the spirit have a sense of humor. I guess it turned a little dark by the end of the night, but it was so good, and it was the best Estes session that I've ever seen. And then we got to do the human pendulum. Have you done that one yet?
That I have not done, And
Oh my goodness, that was amazing.
I hear awesome things about it, but I have
Yeah.
never done it.
Oh, if you ever have a chance to do it, do it. I did it not only as one of the pendulum protectors, but I also did it as the pendulum. And that is a very, very weird feeling. And they warned me ahead of time that I needed to close down all receptors from because it can get pretty weird. And I just went with it and just let them move my body. And that was very strange to have that whole feeling. But still, I'm the skeptic. I'm looking at, okay, so equilibrium, how is our middle ear affecting this? Because we didn't have our eyes closed, so your eyes were your eyes were open, so that solved that problem. But I'm always looking at every single angle that there is to the investigation to try and figure out, okay, what could this be, and not have it be paranormal.
Right. It's like I'm a skeptical believer.
I'm a skeptical believer.
I will
Yep.
skeptic everything until I
Yep.
can no longer use science. And then I'm like,
Right.
okay, now but I will never admit that there is 100% verifiable proof of the paranormal, because there is not.
There is not.
But there are tons of plausibility and possibilities. So that is what I use right off the top. Because if I get a voice on my voice recorder, where did it come from?
Right.
I have it. It's right here. So where did it come from? Unless there's something I'm missing in my logical thinking, like, hey, I know sound travels and it can travel quite a distance, but there was nothing here, just the recorder.
Right.
So yes, I'm a lot like you. I definitely debunk everything until I can no longer do it.
Oh yeah. It's and people send me stuff all the time. Look at this. What do you think? And I'm like, did you take a picture from the other angle? Did you let me see 360 of the room? Let me see everything that was in there so that I can debunk what it could possibly be.
Right.
And then we go into people who send pictures of, they're so flippin' enlarged that anybody could find anything in that picture. And the pareidolia is just going crazy.
Yeah, those really pixelated because they zoom it in.
Please don't please don't enlarge the picture to try and find the paranormal. Please don't do that.
Yeah, pareidolia plays a big part. So
yeah, and and there's just people in the field that they're not. I would have to say that they're not trained and they're not educated enough about what's going on to make to be scientific about it, quite frankly.
Right, and you have to be scientific.
You have to be scientific because it's a science. It's called parapsychology, or no, parapsychology. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a fringe science, so that's why you cannot say with 100% certainty that there is proof of the paranormal, because there's not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's plausibility, and like you said, I believe exactly what you said. I believe that there are a lot of people that want to do this, but they're shown the wrong ways.
They're watching the wrong television shows.
Right. You're not going to watch Zach Bagans and be like, hey, that's it. We're going to be.
Oh, you said it, not me.
we're not going to be, Zach Bagans, because, regardless of Zach and what people think, and I'm not a huge fan of their show for many different reasons, not just, but to me,
I still hold a grudge at him because he didn't go chase down that doppelganger at Hotel Azure in Mokelumne Hill, California. Well, he saw the doppelganger and he didn't go chase it down. And it's like, dude.
Well, he bought the house that was a portal to the most demonous house in the world. I mean, we can all make that claim, So.
Oh, not my house. Not my house. Before I bought my house, I made sure that it didn't have anything in it because I didn't want any competition for when I died.
Well, I'm sure that Zach is a decent person, but he's also a businessman. Yeah. So he knows that fear sells.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of paranormal investigators now are doing. That's why they're constantly saying demons and evil, and because they know that that's going to bring likes, followers, and ratings.
Right. And that's one thing we have to step away from. We have to start stepping away from those types of locations, because that's not helping the field at all. It's making more of a joke out of the field than it could ever do on its own. We talked about.
Go ahead.
We talked about before where you didn't enter into the field to get known. You didn't enter the field to get likes and all that kind of stuff. And then you just mentioned that Zach being a business person. When you get into this field to seriously be a paranormal investigator, you have to start thinking as a business person, because you're not going to get people coming to you for investigations unless you put yourself out there. You've got to start thinking about your adventures as a paranormal investigator in a business term, so that you look at it in more of a professional manner. And that's what I would like to see in the field more, is that people are more professional about what they're doing. The group that I was with Saturday night was professional about what they were doing. And that was a pleasure. The people that are constantly looking for that evil entity and that demon that's in the basement and blah, 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 blah. No, just get away from me. I'm done. Not every single spirit is evil. If you believe every single spirit is evil, then I've got a religion you can go be a part of.
and that's so true. I mean, that you're 100% on. I totally agree. And
as a business person, I mean, that's what I did with this year. I started really concentrating on K2 paranormal research to get it out there. And I've worked really hard to start trying and get likes and trying to get people noticing it, because I really want to present ourselves as a professional organization, and one that's serious about researching the paranormal and trying to figure it out. At least if we can't figure it out, we want to add to the data.
Right. And that is furthering the field.
Correct.
Yeah. That's why people like you and a ton of others, that's why we don't have a ton of likes and followers and that, because we are in it as a science and to learn more. If we, if I wanted to get 30,000 or plus, followers and likes and all that, all I got to do is just start promoting demons, and it'll happen instantly, know. But I don't do that because I am in it for the science.
Yeah.
I want to know. I'm like you. I want to know what happens when we die.
Right.
What
happens?
We'll, like I said, we'll probably never ever know that answer. And then when we are dead, who are we going to ask?
The closest person I know of that can tell you what happens when you die is my friend who is a hospice person. That is the closest to being able to describe it to me than I've ever heard. She can tell you exactly what stage this person is in the process of dying. It's fascinating.
Well, it would be like near-death experiences too. I mean, if someone had a near-death experience, they were on the gurney and they were dead for 20 minutes. And I mean, but there's still tons of factors even for that, because that could just be impulses firing. And so there's a lot, we will never know what it really is. We can speculate all we want, you know, but to know, we'll never know.
No.
It's like you could be Nick Groff. I like Nick. I think he's I like what he's doing. But here's the thing:
he's from Oregon. He's from Oregon. I gotta give him props. I gotta back him.
you can be Nick Groff. But here's the thing: Nick knows no more than we know.
True.
because you're kind of stuck when you get so elevated in the paranormal field. It's like you're stuck. You can't really go anywhere else. You can only get so far. You can only get so far with science before you have to be like, am I really going to find out what it is I'm looking for?
Okay, so I don't think that we're stuck in the field. I think what we need are people that can sit around in conversations like this and try to hypothesize what it could possibly be, and then we work on those hypotheses to try and figure out, okay, is this what it is? Is this not what it is? That kind of thing.
But then you would still be stuck. Because once you go so far, it's like the debunking process. You can only go so far in the debunking process, and then you can say, well, okay, I just debunked everything, so now there's a 1% chance that it can be, you know what I mean? You debunk 99% of it, so there's 1% that you just can't debunk, but you can't move further because there's no proof in it.
Well, I think maybe that's where we have to be able to go back to a location and experience it again to get more data. But how many people are able to go back to Pennhurst and to the exact same location?
Well, I see what you're saying, but you're still stuck. There's no way, unless you would be able to die and take everybody with you to show you what's on the other side, and then let everybody come back to life, then we would know.
Okay. That I will. Yeah. It's where I thought you were going, but I was trying to take you a little bit further than that, going, okay, well, let's just think about this. Maybe somebody's got an idea that they're sitting on, and it could actually open up a whole nother world for us.
Right. I mean, and that's true. We can sit and we can talk. You can talk about interdimensions and quantum theories. You can physically do that. You can think about all that. But in the very end, the grand scheme of things, we can never prove it.
Yeah.
So, yes, we'll have hypothesized ideas and theories, but that's all it will ever be until... Go ahead.
I'm wondering if we can connect historic people and places together with the haunting. I know that they're starting to do that again on the Ghost Hunter show. They're starting to do more historic hauntings and connecting events and people at the property with what's going on, which is what I'm trying to do too. And I'm wondering if maybe I don't know if we can connect that I don't know.
See,
I just don't know.
That's where we're held up, because theoretically you can do all the historical facts and searches, and you can say, okay, Don Corleone lived in this house at this time, and you can do a ghost box session and you can hear Don Corleone come through, but can you prove it's him?
Right. Can you prove it's him?
So now we're back to stuck again, because we can't prove it's him.
Or is it some guy imitating his voice? I know. It's
it's a crazy field. It really is. I love the field.
God, now I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight because you got me. I got this circle going around in my head.
I know, and it'll keep going too. No matter, and that's good, because those circles help keep you thinking. So, I've talked to so many people.
I need no help doing that.
I've talked to hundreds of people, and literally, I mean, they're like you, good people. They have a good mindset. They wrap their heads around things easy. But in the grand scheme of things, at the very end, you can't prove any of it.
No, you can't.
Because
I can't prove that. I can't prove the EVP that I caught in the octagon hall in the basement in the kitchen was the mother saying Elizabeth. I can't.
That's
right.
Can't
prove it.
But it's very plausible, because. But is it factual? I mean, it's factual, but is it proof? No, because my EMF detector can detect anomalies, but is it really picking up a spirit?
So. That's it. I quit paranormal.
No,
I'm not doing this anymore.
no, you're doing perfectly, and that's good, because I want people listening to this to be able to understand what you and I are talking about. We are in this field to help further it and help collaborate and talk to each other and hypothesize and come up with different things. What would cause this voice to come out of thin air?
Right. I love talking about the paranormal.
Same.
There's two subjects in the world that I could spend hours talking about, and one of them I'm not going to tell you about because it's probably not for public radio. And the other one, it's paranormal. I could do this all day long, and I love listening to all the theories. There's so many podcasts out there right now that have paranormal to the theme of them that I can't even listen to all of them. It's rough. Because there's probably some really good stuff out there.
There is. And you can watch Ancient Aliens, you can watch, all those and talk and, listen to Giorgio and all them. Those people have great minds, and they think a lot about different things. They have a lot of good theories, but in the very end of it, you can't prove it. Now, what you can do is you can validate for yourself. And that's what this field is basically for. It's to validate things that you've had happen. You've had a spirit guide or a mother from another time period,
another lifetime.
Yes, reach out to you. So now you're like, well, why? Why did this? Who was this that did it? So now that's taking you down other rabbit holes to find out. No, we know, like we said before, you was in a very vulnerable place. So this spirit guide or spirit mom, or they were looking after you saying, hey man, there's more to you than what this is right now.
Right. And I got to tell you, since that day, I could never go back. There's no way I could ever go back to what my life was before that.
Right. Yes.
I couldn't. I could not put the veil over my head again. I couldn't do it.
Yes.
It would drive me crazy.
And now you're like, I want to help other people figure out why they're having this kind of thing. Are they at their vulnerable spot in life? I mean, you never know if someone's going through a divorce, or, you know what I mean? It could be something really heavy, something massive like that. And it's like the thought forms. It's going to affect. So you're there to help them. You're like a psychologist, a parapsychologist.
I look at it more as a therapist.
Yeah.
Because you do a lot of listening and you do a lot of talking to them, and you try and get it to where they're comfortable with what's going on. Because there's no way they're going to stop it. It's not going to stop.
That's right.
And all you can do is just make people comfortable with it. And I think that's why I like doing homes the most, because a lot of the things that go on in homes are related to something that happened in that house. And if you can just live with the ghosts that are in your house, like my neighbor across the street, when she bought her house, she was told there were 2 women ghosts in that house. And they argued over what bedroom they were going to get and their cups for their coffee. So she went down to Goodwill, bought 2 cups, 2 spoons, put them on a shelf in the kitchen, set aside a room for them, said, this is your room, these are your cups. She hasn't heard a peep one out of those ghosts since she moved in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So maybe
impressive.
Yes, maybe that was their way of they wanted to tell their story, and then that person actually did something about it, and now it's solved the problem.
Right. Yeah.
So yes, I totally get that.
I love that. And that's why that's what I would love to do with other residential areas, is just, it's like, here, this is what is happening, this is why it's happening, and this is how you can live with it. If you choose not to live with it, you're going to have to sell your house.
Right. And that could be
And come
detrimental.
October, I can help you do that. No.
and that could definitely be detrimental to somebody who's having problems, and their only solution is to move.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, people aren't made of money and they can't just pick up and go. So,
No.
So what do? You know what I mean? You can sage and cleanse, but sometimes that makes things worse.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, no, I love the fact that you're out there helping people and businesses. That to me that's more important, talking about those things than talking about, Pennhurst and things like that.
Yeah, the locations that you can rent for a night and go in and do it, that's great. But I love virgin areas.
Yes.
I've got one house in Gallatin that I'm getting ready to do as soon as they can get ready for me. They're rehabbing the house right now. But I went down there and I know who we've got all the history of the house. So we know who was in the house. And I'm really looking forward to just doing that property because it's never been investigated.
Well, good. And that'll help you immensely.
Yeah, and just setting the record straight as to what's going on up there.
Yes, that history is utmost importance.
Mm-hmm. Telling the true story, telling the accurate story. There's so many embellishments that are done at these locations that I don't even listen to the pitch that they give, because I'll go off and do my own my own research. And it just floors me at how many people just believe what's coming out of somebody's mouth without verifying it.
Exactly. And that's where it really becomes that thought form entities that you can actually create. If you tell enough people and they start to believe it, now something starts to manifest, which is why the history is so much important, because you need to separate the fact from the fiction.
Yes.
Because you can remove a thought form entity by thinking it out of existence.
Right.
So,
or just not talking about it any longer.
That's right. Because energy is energy. And once it's built, I don't know if we can get rid of it completely, but I know that you can think them out of existence. Right. So, yeah, I mean, that's awesome that you're going to be doing that. And I wish more people would delve deep into historical facts about a place.
And it's not that difficult to do. That's the thing that drives me crazy. It's not that difficult to go do the history research like what I'm doing. It's easy. They just don't want to pay for the subscriptions to the research labs.
Well, that is true too. But it's also fun to just go off of what other people's claiming.
Well, yeah, because they have demons and evil things there.
That's right.
Yeah, they have entities that will. I mean, let's step away from that for a second and say that, yeah, I have run into an evil spirit. I have run into something that I don't want to run into again.
Absolutely.
But they're not everywhere.
Exactly. I will agree with you 1,000,000% on that.
Yeah, I swear to God, if I hear one more evil entity in a location, I'm going to scream. It could be the candy. No, let's not do candy because that's associated with witches and them eating children. It could be a house of daisies, and there will be a vicious, blood-curdling, screaming demon in the house. It's like, really?
That's right. Well, you got to have evil with sweet, delicate flowers.
To make it sell.
So Kelly, what is what is in your future? Like, what do you see? What's like one place that you definitely want to go investigate or do, or another book that you want to write? What do you have going on in the future?
Well, I've got the book that I'm working on for Mary. I'm trying to figure out if her story is going to be big enough for a book or not. And writing a novel and being different characters is not something I do easily. My friend Gina said over the weekend that she has difficulty being multiple characters in her stories, and I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly right. But where I want to go, I've got a bunch of areas that I want to go and investigate. But as for one that I really want to go to Scotland.
Oh, nice.
I'm just gonna do that one. I really want to go to Scotland because I'm a third Scottish, and I have a cousin in Scotland who is also a ghost hunter, and that was a shock. And they have some magnificent old buildings and castles. And the thing that I love about the area that I'm in right now, Tennessee, is that the history is so old that you're starting to get the older haunts. Can you imagine going to Europe and touching those haunts that are thousands of years old?
Oh, right. Absolutely.
That you have absolutely no ability to pinpoint what that might be, because it could go clear back to Stone Ages.
Right.
And just to be able to experience that energy would be an amazing experience, because I'm an energy person. I feel energy all around me, and I can feel when somebody walks into the room and they're in bad mood. I can feel, good moods. I can feel energies of the entities that are around and things like that. And the energy is just a really cool thing it's like, ooh, I haven't experienced that before. And just to go into those older locations that are centuries old would just be, oh, amazing.
I went to Ireland when
Amazing.
I was a kid. I went to Ireland. We
Oh,
went with the school band. This was back in like I don't know, 83, 84.
yeah,
And
somewhere around there.
and I had to. You have to. I got to kiss the Blarney Stone, which was
Oh,
weird
cool.
because you got to
You laid
kind
on
of.
your back and kissed the Blarney Stone.
Yes. You have to.
Yep.
You have to kind of bend over, backwards
Oh, yeah.
to kiss that, and they hold your feet, But there's like a rail, so you couldn't. Even if you did fall, you'd never go straight to the ground. But that was such an interesting thing because, like you were saying, the history there,
The history.
and you're talking
And
about
how
Scotland.
many thousands of people have been through there?
I know, right?
Oh, just the whole thing is just amazing.
And
And here in the States, I think I probably want to do Gettysburg.
Gettysburg's an awesome place.
Gettysburg would just be a dream too.
Yeah, it's definitely an
Because
awesome
that's
place.
huge. That's just a huge area, and you've got the towns around, and it's what I love. Civil War happens to be my favorite part of history. I absolutely love the 1800s. I'm starting to go into the 1700s now because it's related to what goes on in the 1800s. But the Civil War era is just fascinating to me, and what it took for those people to survive and to keep going, and all of the loss and all of the struggles, and oh yeah, it's just fascinating.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely a time period that I often find myself reflecting on quite often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the Revolutionary War would be a really great one to go to. I think for me, that doesn't hold as much passion as the Civil War held. And it just, real people going, oh no, for me, it's very sad because it's neighbor against neighbor, brother against brother, friend against friend. And it's sad for me because the just they drove them to that. The people that we were talking about before that know everything are the puppet masters. They drove people to kill each other. And that's just sad and wrong, quite frankly.
Right. I think it would be crazy, like even through both wars, because you're at your house and they're right outside in your ground fighting or moving through. And the Civil War was the same.
Yeah.
So
I was at what was the name of that mansion? Well, it's a mansion down in Franklin, Tennessee. And I'm standing in there looking out the windows going, I cannot imagine thousands of soldiers fighting outside my front window.
Right.
And going up to the Octagon Hall and imagining 9 to 12,000 Union soldiers camped outside of your house.
I mean, how scary would that be? First off, I mean, you're at your house, minding your business. All of a sudden, it's, gunshot and cannons, and it's like, wow, that'd be very scary.
Then there'd be silence and they're reloading. No.
Right. I think I'd be in my basement or a root cellar or whatever. I'd be hiding.
I'd be going to Florida. No. I'm not a war person. I think everybody should get along. I really do. War to me is just, no, that's not good.
It's not, but is it necessary? Yes. I mean, if we would not have fought the British, we would still be under British rule.
We would still be under the British rule.
So, I mean, I definitely see where you have to have it. I mean, the Civil War, the North and the South, that was a big. They were fighting for a bunch of things. They were fighting for slavery. They were fighting for textile stuff. The
thing what I put the Civil War down to is it was freedom of choice. That is entirely what the Civil War was about. Freedom of choice.
Yeah, I know it was brutal, and it was about a lot of things, and it was just, I mean, especially for those that lost a limb. Holy moly, you had no anesthetic or nothing.
Can you imagine?
They're like, okay, let's just chop it off right here.
Oh, they didn't chop it; they sawed it.
Yeah, let's saw it off. Yeah, that would.
And there was no anesthesia. You basically passed out from the pain level.
Yeah, and if you didn't pass out, I mean, the pain would have been.
Wow. Yeah, I could not. Oh, I can't even imagine. And it's all of that pain that just it drives me to want to do more of the Civil War locations, and maybe at some point talk to a spirit and have them respond and ask and answer questions. Who knows? But Gettysburg would be the stateside, and Scotland would be the European side for me. Either that or Italy.
And you're an empath, so I mean, you can feel all. When you go to these places like Gettysburg, you'll feel it. I mean, there's no doubt you're going to feel it, and you could even become very emotional. I've known people that's been to some of those places in Gettysburg, and they just became overwhelmed with emotion.
Right. And there's a lot of people that talk to me about a lot of mediums and a lot of clairs and a lot of empaths that talk to me about, you got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I do protect myself, but I also want to feel what's out there. And I want to be able to understand it through what I receive, and if you're just constantly cutting yourself off from feeling, you're never going to advance. It's like, I've got to feel the tough stuff, so that I can also feel the simple stuff. And I want to go out and I want to feel the pain of Gettysburg, and I want to feel the pain of people hiding from the troops and all that. I want to feel that. I want to feel that.
Yeah, that's definitely, because you're how you are, you'll definitely feel all that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that at some point something brings me to my knees crying, but that's going to be a really hard thing to do because I don't cry easy.
You probably will when you're there. Once you
I
start
hope
thinking
so.
about it, and that's just horrible. All those things that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. I really hope that that it will make me an emotional mess, but yeah, I'm good with it. I really am.
Well,
There's
Kelly,
not much that.
I tell you what,
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to you again because I'm definitely gonna have you back on.
Oh, please do again. Please
And
do. Yeah, I enjoy doing it. We'll have to move around. I've got the podcast that I co-host on Monday nights or
nice.
Monday afternoon.
What's the name of your podcast?
The Cemetery Files.
All right, awesome. And you have a paranormal group. What's your group again?
Our group is K2 Paranormal Research.
Okay, and
yep.
You can find both of these on Facebook as well, correct?
Facebook and Instagram. Cemetery Files goes over to TikTok. I'm doing that one with J.D. Hill. And then there's another podcast that I'm going to be starting in July, August, somewhere around in there. I'm going to be doing that one with Damian Christie, who referred me over to you for tonight.
Yes,
and
he's a good guy. Good guy.
Yeah, that one's Beyond 6 Feet Under, or Beyond 6 Feet Under. Yeah, Beyond 6 Feet Under. And he and I do a lot of work together. We've done a couple of locations. Wait, no, have we only done one together so far? And we're working on the second one. We've got another one coming up in June. Yeah, our second joint adventure. Doing an investigation out at the United Methodist Village in Indiana or Illinois. I'd have to look at my calendar and see where that one's at.
Yeah, I know. Me and him talked about that.
Yeah, we join groups and get out there and investigate together. It's a blast.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it sounds like
the Cemetery Files are on IG, TikTok, Facebook,
YouTube.
Who else is out there? Twitter. I don't think we're doing YouTube yet. I think we're branching away from that. We might go to Paraflix. I don't know.
Okay.
Paraflix. Hey, if nobody knows anything about Paraflix, you got to look into it. This is going to be the channel for the paranormal.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I heard good things about them.
Yeah. They seem to be doing things right. So I think that might end up being the paranormal channel.
Well, let's hope so, because there's plenty out there that's not doing it right.
Correct. Right? Oh, my goodness.
Kelly, I'll tell you, I had a wonderful time talking to you, and I thank you so much.
Well, next time we'll talk religion.
Okay. Well, that will take up 2 hours automatically.
All right.
But, yeah, it was awesome talking to you, and I thank you so much for coming on last minute. And,
my pleasure.
And I really did have a wonderful time. And
thank you. Me too.
I hope that you find what you're looking for out in the paranormal world.
Thank you.
I'm going to keep trying to look what I'm looking for. So
thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and you have a wonderful night.
I will. You too.
All right. Bye-bye now.
All right. Night-night.
Hey, thanks for tuning in with us tonight, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow to receive notifications when new content from Paranormal Podcast is made available. If you believe you have something paranormal happening in your home or business, or you believe you may have witnessed a UFO or UAP, please send us your story, your photos, videos, questions, suggestions, and your comments to paranormallypodcast@gmail.com. You can also visit us at www.paranormallypodcast.com for more content and information, including all our social links. Hey, thanks again for watching and listening, and I hope that you tune in for next week's episode of Paranormally. Hey, a word of caution. Paranormally Podcast and its affiliates or hosts do not verify or check the validity of any person, team, or its members. Paranormally Podcast highly advises that you proceed with caution when contacting any person or team before allowing them and having them into your home or business. A legit paranormal research and investigation team will never charge you a fee to investigate your home or business. They do, however, accept donations to help further the research and investigations if you so choose to do so. All right, thanks everybody.